Page 77, modern sounds. You can guess what this is going to sound like. Modern sounds usually indicates there's dissonance. You see, in music, we have nice sounding notes that sound really pleasant together. And we got other sounds that sound a little edgy. Well, that's called dissonance. So consonance is sounding nice. Dissonance is the edgy. Modern sounds usually include edgy, a lot of edgy. They seem to like a lot of edgy. Okay, fine. On page 76, they're introducing you to major and minor triads. We're just kind of building up more music theory here going on. So hopefully you understand all the theory we've had so far. If not, please go back and review because we're just going to keep adding to it. You already know what a triad is. It's a 3-note chord. Any 3-note chord. Could be black keys involved too. Right now, I'll just use the white keys for you. Well, a major triad is a major third and minor third on top of each other, and a minor triad is a minor third and a major third. They're switched on top of each other, and that means absolutely nothing if you don't know what a major third and a minor third are. Okay, let's back up. You know what a half step is? It's next 2 notes next to each other. It's the closest distance you can have is a half step. Well, a major third is 4 half steps. So I'm starting on C. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a major third because there's 4 half steps between those 2 notes. A minor third is simply one less, 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. So I can major third, minor third, major third, minor third. That can go up to, it just doesn't matter which note goes where. That's the distance between them is what we're talking about. So in a C chord, we already know that's a major third. So here we got a 1, 2, 3. So that's a minor third. So we got a major third and a minor third on top of each other. Major, minor, stacked. That's a major triad. A minor triad uses switch them. Well, we want a minor third, 1, 2, 3, and a major third, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a minor triad, and you can do this on any note, white or black. It doesn't matter. Just count up half steps, you're fine. Now, if you have a major triad, and by the way, the 1 chord, or the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord, remember the primary chords? Those are all major triads in a major scale, in a major key. They're major triads. Just keep it. So in C, the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord, because it's the 1, the 4, and the 5. We use 5, 7, but I'm not using the 7th right now. Just sticking with triads. Those are the major chords in a key, in any key. They're major chords. If I want to make a minor, I take the middle note down a half step. So here, take it. Here, I make a minor. That's how I can do them. If I have a minor triad and I want to make a major, I take the middle note up a half step. Okay. You need to be in this position. Now, if you're in an inversion, it gets confusing, so you need to move it around until you're in root position where the notes are next to each other, or every other note, and the bottom note identifies the chord. That's where we're getting into this bit. Because if I'm in first inversion, you know, that's major, that's minor. Major, minor. But it doesn't look like I did the middle note because this note's on the bottom. Well, that's because I'm not in root position. I need to be here. So be careful on that. And in case you're wondering, because you got all these triads in it, and it's key. Well, we already know the 1, the 4, and the 5 are major. The others are minor. Here, here, here. And then the 7th is the weirdo. You gotta have 1 off. Yeah. It's diminished. Don't worry about it. We're after major and minor right now. Now let's talk modern sounds. 4 lines long, but you have a repeat sign at the end of the 2nd line, so really it's going to be 6 lines long. And then there's a DC Alfini at the bottom, sends you back to the beginning, so now we're up to 8 lines long. It's amazing how they grow, isn't it? Just. But there's only 4 lines of music you need to deal with. No sharps or flats in the key signature. When the key is C major, more or less. I mean, if you look at the end of the second line, that's where it ends. You're here. That's really where you are. You have that edgy sound. I'm going to say it's in C major. Let's just keep it simple. Right hand, starting with, and you're going to do all these with 2 and 4. So it's, the notes are here, here, here. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, if that throws you, and it does some people, it's in, take out those ties and play all the notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then it's not quite so bad. Well, once you can do that, then put the tie back in. You just hang on to the note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And that's the rhythm all over the place. We're going to use 2 and 4 on all this, so you're moving up. And then when you get to measure 9, you're up. You're still 2 and 4. It's the same rhythm, different notes, and then we have an octave. Oh, we got a G sharp in there. We went major all the They don't, in measure 13, they don't need the natural sign. It's a natural anyway, but you just had a G sharp. They're just being clear. It's okay. Same thing for measure 15. Okay. Left hand has basically the same rhythm and the same fingering. It's 4 and 2. And then just thumb right here. Cross, use the thumb as your pivot and come across. And again, use the thumb as a pivot for measure 5 and come across. That's fine. And then for measure 9, you're going to use 5 and 1 for all of these. That's okay. Just whole notes, you can hold that, I hope. When you're only going up and down one key, you need to be able to feel that without necessarily looking eventually. You want to grab that feel, or get the feel of going up and down one key on the keyboard without looking. Eventually. It's something to work toward. Then when you put the hands together, well, this is a whole new trick here, because you're here together, next to each other, and that's the edgy sound I'm talking about. And they're all moving together. So forget the rhythm for a minute. Let's just get this part. Here, here, here. Gotta get used to that. Here, keep these together. You can kind of work that if you have to, at your speed, not mine. Then you can think about the rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3. So you go through and put the hands together. Now when you get to the third line, it's not quite so bad because you're just hanging on down here. So that's a little easier, I hope. Now there's a few things that may help you on this, because this could be a lot of trouble for people doing this. You can think about one finger in each hand. Either finger, doesn't matter. And if you hold your hand in that position, flex at the wrist, everything should just go along. So I'm thinking about here. My hand in this position, I flex at the wrist. I'm just focusing on these fingers. And the other fingers just do it. And I say flex at the wrist because when you hold your hand in that position and you want to keep it in that position, you'll tense up. I gotta stay, I can't move. Here, flex at the wrist and that will keep you loose, help to. So just keep the arms where they are and flex. Exaggerate it if you have to, but don't hurt yourself. Just boom. And then the motion's very little though. I'm only thinking about that and letting the other fingers just do their thing. Different ways of approaching it. You know, you'll find a way that works for you. Don't try and think of all 4 notes at once. I gotta get all 4 of these notes going. No, you concentrate on little bits and you hold the position and you'll be fine. Because this type of technique can be used in a lot of different spaces, a lot of different places. And I'll talk about it more when we get to those places. As far as articulation goes, they don't give you any. Once you get to know it, you can add staccatos and things if you want. Because I can go here. I can put a staccato on the end. And I can accent the here. Because it's a syncopated note. Because I'm expecting this, and I play it soon. I play it sooner than I expect it, because I want quarter notes. It comes quicker, and so I accent it. So I can play around with the staccatos and stuff. Feel it. You get into it and you're experimenting with these articulation things. They don't give you anything, so it's wide open. Now be careful. There's a note at the top there above the staff. Second time, both hands 8 VA. The second time, because you're going to play the first 2 lines 3 times. Because there's a repeat sign and you go back. Well, that's the second time. That's where you go 8 VA. So you're ending the second line here. You got 1 beat rest. So instead of going back to here, you're going all the way up to here. So it's again, rest. This gives you practice and experience of playing at different parts of the keyboard. You're not always just playing in the middle. And it does feel different playing up here than playing here. It takes a little practice. Then on the 3rd line down, you see the LOCO, local. That means play it where it's written. So we had an 8 VA, we don't have it anymore. Now we're back down to here. So you're ending the second line, second time up here. Well, now 3rd line, you got to go to here and here. Just going here, just moving a little bit, but you got 1 beat rest to do it in. So you hear. So you may have to practice that because it has to be a steady beat. Now at the end, when you're here at the last measure at the bottom, and the DC al fine, DC means go back to the beginning. So you're going to come here. So you're going to go from here to here. You have to practice that because there's no rest here. You just lift up. And as you lift up, you move. So it's here. There you do have to look at the keyboard. When you're moving around big distance, you got to look at the keyboard, see what you're doing. Otherwise, it's nice to learn to do this without looking at the keyboard, even at this. You can feel going up and down 1 key at a time and staying relaxed. Yeah. Only takes a few years, I guess. Dynamics. This is pretty much both hands at the beginning, whatever you think sort of loud is. Mezzo forte. And then into the second line you come down, or you're here actually, to go to the 3rd line, soft. I would keep you can play these soft if you want because it's a whole note, you just hold on to it. My tendency though is to play these in the left hand very soft. There's a crescendo of the last 2 measures. You come up a little bit. Here, see when I have these matching hairpins, you look in the middle and see what the note or notes are. That's your target. That's where you're headed. I want ba 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 ba. That's the target, and then come back down. You go up and then come back down. This is the right hand now. And then you come down soft, back down to soft, and then go back up to the top. Now you're moderately loud again. So you went from soft at the bottom to moderately loud. Both hands there. Experiment with the dynamics and get to know the piece well enough that you can do other things maybe with the dynamics. Experiment a little bit. I keep saying experiment a little bit, or a lot. Yeah. To me, that's what makes music fun. I can experiment with things and what can I do with the interpretation without violating what the music tells me to do? What else can I do with this? Now they've added pedal, and that's okay. And here it's really the contrast between this and this, because they sound quite different. And that's what we're after here, is a contrast. So push the notes down, or push the pedal down right after you play the notes. And lift it up with the hands so there's a little silence before we go on. And that's the pedaling all the way through pretty much. Speed, I didn't talk about speed. Sort of slow, it's up to you on sort of slow. It's not fast. It's not slow. It's sort of slow. Well, it's felt. What do you think? It has to be accurate. So you decide what sort of slow is. There is a note there at the top on the second line, the last two measures above the staff. Last time retardando, that's the third time you play it. Then you slow down. Yeah, but don't slow down any other time you're going through this. Keep a steady beat throughout. I'd like to play this slowly with you to check the notes and the rhythms. I don't know about you. May just need to do this one hand at a time, because when you start sounding like this, it's hard to tell if you're playing a right note or not. So you may just want to focus on one hand and see if you can get one hand at a time here. We just want to make sure we got the right notes. The rhythm hopefully isn't a problem. I'll give us 4 counts. We are going to do the second time, the AVA and the DCA all feeding and the whole bit. We're going to do all of that. I'm just not doing any dynamics. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2.